Hello, this is the next part. So, the release of BFA, nothing really happened outside of like doing Mythic dungeons. And then when the raid came out, we cleared normal and heroic. Um, Before we cleared heroic Cahoon, we went to Mythic Talic because it was really easy, and it's basically free loot, and it gave us time to farm, or not farm, but re-clear heroic for like gear and Azerite pieces for the re-origination array because the buff is really nice. I'm not really going to talk about Talic since the boss is basically the same as heroic, just does more damage. Mother took us about 30 tries. There was a bug where the tank that goes first into the next room would always take aggro, so they would pull the boss into the next room with them. And what we did was we bopped that tank and then gave him a macro to remove the buff. And during all of this, during the first 3 bosses, we were cycling through trials, and I felt as if the raid team wasn't set until the 3rd boss, because it was never officially announced that they were not gonna take any more people onto the main team from the standbys. So the rogue we had during Antorus, I think it was the guy that messed up the grenade mechanic on high command. So he quit raiding with us. He was still in the guild, and he said a few things like he felt that he wasn't good enough. Personally, I didn't see any major problems with him, and I know that at least he has potential, since I've seen him in Mythic Plus and he's really good. He eventually he settled on being a standby, but yeah, the pots were really expensive as well. The hour-long pots were like 2.4k, and pre-pot was like 300. So raiding was expensive, or it could be. The feasts were really expensive. The big feasts. Anyway, so we went on to Zekphos after, and I think the first problem was adapting to the I-beam, which allowed us to get into the second phase, which was at 40%. The I-beam's a lot faster and it did a lot more damage. I think if you had 3 people in the circle, one of them was going to die. And a lot of the problems went away once we had more gear as well, because it allowed us to do more damage. And damage was really important because we had to like kill the ads really fast. Like the big ads, the Nerubian, something I can't remember, and the small ads. So yeah. And the big ad as well. Having a big ad wasn't always a wipe. So the big ad came from the pools that you dropped off to the side, and when it exploded, it basically like did 100 and maybe 150, 160k. So when we had one, we had everyone stack up, and we popped that priest bubble. And we had 2 demon hunters pop darkness, and then we used defenses on top of that. So that was the only time I think that we really had to use like big defensive cooldowns on this boss. The last phase was a DPS race, because you'd lose people from the orb that you had to pick up. So we had an order for the balls to be picked up, and the one warrior we had to pick it up twice. because like this was his execute phase, and the bull gave you like massive DPS, and yeah, we needed him to like get through this phase, because for some reason we we might not have been able to do it if we didn't have a warrior, and we only have one, so he was able to pick it up twice because we saved his CR for him. So he'd pick up the bull, do like massive DPS, die, and then get combat resed, pick up the bull again, and then do another wave of massive DPS. We even put healers into the rotation. I think that's the tactic. You're supposed to put healers in the rotation because the healers don't really like do DPS, and that's, you don't really take a lot of damage in this phase. You do take a bit, but like, yeah, it's not a lot, so you can do with less healers in the last phase. We after Zekphos we had a few pulls on Fetid, but we changed to Vectis because we heard it was easier, and yeah, we're pretty close to killing Vectis. We missed one of the raid days because we didn't have enough people. I think our best try on Vectis was 17%. So you can expect the kill video soon. I think the last thing I'll talk about is Azerite traits. So there was a lot of debate on this, and I never really did any research regarding what people thought of the system. I did overhear some of the conversations in my guild about it, so like one of the things I heard was it was supposed to replace tier sets, and I don't watch any of the like the streams or the interviews or the Q&As kind of thing, so maybe it was supposed to, maybe they said it was supposed to replace tier sets, but anyway. And then someone else said that the tier pieces should, well, not the tier pieces, the Azerite pieces should drop in Mythic Plus. But if they dropped in Mythic Plus, then there was no reason to raid. I guess that's why we have raid specific Azerite pieces for the re-origination array. I don't follow all of it, and I don't really have any opinions on it either. I just deal with it. I just work with what I've got. So, and also, I saved all my Azerite pieces unintentionally because I wanted to go into PvP, and since I didn't know anything, like any trait could be the best trait. So all the Azerite pieces I ever had, I saved. I think I'm still saving them. It was a good thing because they messed around with the traits a lot because some of them were extremely overpowered. So there was a lot of like retuning and stuff. I think gearing in BFA is quite easy as well. But I don't know. I think BFA, like being able to perform mechanics, it's a big deal now. And doing endgame content, like, although eye level isn't like a true representation of skill, you still need it. And obviously the mechanical skill, you know. I guess I'll end it here since I'm not sure what else to say. And goodbye.